let's understand the impact of pregnancy losses from a key finding published in 2016 by Egger and his group. Now, let's look at early pregnancy losses in women with secondary recurrent pregnancy loss who have at least had one live birth. What this study indicated is that early pregnancy losses do not affect the risk of future losses. Only the loss occurring after a live birth are more indicative and more significant in telling you what will be the risk of future losses. What it means to say is that if you've had a loss before the live birth, that really doesn't tell you much. After a live birth, if you've had multiple losses, then that is a significant risk factor of future losses. Again, timing of when the baby was lost is important. Second trimester losses are significant and stronger indicators that in future pregnancy losses may be more compared to first trimester losses. Now, this is something which has been slightly different. Now, regardless of if you have a second trimester loss, regardless if you've had a live birth, the risks of having future losses tends to increase. Now, there's also an increased risk with more losses. Each early pregnancy loss after a live birth raises the risk of future loss by about 11%. And that is something which seems to be reasonably common that we end up seeing. Now, why is that so? We think that there could be a possible immunological factors. They're very difficult to test, but we may be able to see that through some studies which have done. And what we think is that when there is a successful pregnancy, it helps to stabilize the immune factor, mainly the immune tolerance that occurs for subsequent pregnancies. And that moderates the T factor lymphocytes to start the process of regulate the endometrium. Now, that is what we believe. We think that in some cases, when this is disrupted, miscarriages would occur. It's again very difficult to prove because assessing immune factors is incredibly difficult. Blood immune factors do not really tell you a lot more about your immune side, and thus treating it is again a big question mark and is highly controversial. This paper to a certain extent tells us the general risks that tend to occur if you've had miscarriages after a live birth rate, and after a live birth, miscarriages that occur are more significant and tell you more about the risks of future. If you had miscarriages and then you had a live birth, that generally does not have much impact, but equally tells you that the womb is normal and the chance of pregnancy continue to be good.